I'm doing great, Sharp. Happy Friday.
Oh, happy Friday. This is actually becoming Fridays are always been great, but this is like the nice end to the week is the SpinSheet Happy Hour.
Yeah, I did a thing yesterday. I had my furnace replaced, and I thought, if I replace my furnace, it's a guarantee spring is going to happen, like tomorrow. It didn't work.
No, it did not.
It was cold today.
It was freezing. Yeah, I think it was like 19 degrees or something like that.
Oh my gosh, and the wind.
It was howling last night. Yeah, it was crazy.
I'm over it. I'm fully over it. Yeah. In fact, I made myself a summery little, light and fluky Mount Gay ginger type drink.
I did the same. Look at that. There.
Cheers.
Awesome. Well, Molly, what are we doing today? What are we talking about?
Well, I'm excited about this program. The guys from Valhalla Sailing Project are going to be on. And I thought I knew what they did. And then I had a phone conversation with them just to brainstorm a little bit, just for tonight to make sure I had questions. And at some point in our brainstorming, I finally said, stop, you guys. We only have an hour. And they have a lot to say. And there's a lot of neat stuff here. So if you anyone who's a veteran or a family member of a veteran, especially if they'd like to get into sailing, it's worth tuning in tonight. And for anyone who doesn't know, and I see that, some of our regulars are stopping in tonight. So hi, guys. If you don't know, these programs stay up in our Facebook, in our video archive, and now we're putting them up on YouTube. So we don't have all of them on YouTube, but our most recent programs are still on YouTube. So if you know someone who hears about this and you think, gosh, you should have seen that program, it would have been really valuable for you, send them to SpinSheet's YouTube. Or to our Facebook page to see the program. But anyway, so we have Mike Wood and Jay McGinnis from Valhalla Sailing Project.
Very cool.
And it's an Annapolis program, but they invite people from all over. They've had people from all over participate in the program. So I think even if you're down there on the Southern Bay, it's worth tuning in.
Awesome. Yeah. Before we get started, I almost forgot my role. Thank you to Mount Gay Rum for sponsoring this episode of SpinSheet Happy Hour.
Yeah, we're branded though. We're
branded though. It almost goes without saying, So anyhow, let's bring our guests on.
All right.
And there we go.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Jay.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to SpinSheet Happy Hour. You guys are both first-time guests on our program, which is exciting.
Do not say that.
Great to
in my world.
Having us.
No, in the paratrooper world, the first time you do something, you owe a case of beer. So I'm not going to buy this is my first time, right?
No. I don't know. I like that rule.
No, we spoke earlier. This is not my first time. We spoke earlier.
Cool. Well, before I leave, let's just, I want to do a cheers, but to do that, I need to know what you're drinking. Mike, what are you drinking?
So I have gone to straight up on rocks, some Mount Gay XO.
Yeah. Fancy.
I like what you've done there, though.
Yeah.
Jay, what are you drinking?
I have a Kentucky origin beverage. We'll just leave it at that.
It's Friday.
It's Friday, whatever works for you.
Yep. Cling toward the center.
Can you find the center?
There it is. Yeah, there we
go. Cheers. Thank you, guys.
All right.
I'm going to hide the background like I do.
All right, sure. Go be man behind the curtain, and let's talk. Let's get to the business of talking about sailing. I have a lot of questions for you guys, and before we get into Valhalla, I like to ask every single guest who comes on the program. It's just nice to know their sailing background. So if you briefly could just tell us about how you got into sailing, Mike. Let's have you start.
All right. So how did I get into sailing? Honestly, I was dragged kicking and screaming when I was in third grade out to Youngstown Yacht Club up on Lake Ontario for their levels regatta to essentially be the squirrel and beer runner for my dad and his buddies. So after that first time, I fell in love with the sport. Did junior sailing up on Lake Ontario, and I have not been able to kick the bug, regardless of how much I've tried or where I've been in the world. Yeah, I've stuck with the sport, and now I'm racing regularly in Annapolis with the J35 fleet, and yeah, it's been a blast.
How about you, Jay? How'd you get started? And also make sure to end with what kind of sailing you do now and what kind of boat you have, if any.
Yeah. So I came to sailing late in life. It's something I've always sort of had an interest in. But I grew up mainly, my dad was in the military and moved a lot, but all of my family's from the coast of North Carolina, and not a ton of sailing in that area, but I was always sort of interested in it, but never a real decent opportunity to do it. But my ex-wife was from Newport, Rhode Island, and she actually just talked about how much she loved to sail. So I would go up there with her and visit, and we would go to the Navy station there, to the Navy base, and get a boat from MWR. But they would never teach me anything. It was just her and her dad sailing, and they told me what side of the boat to sit on. So for me, it's kind of hard for me to extract how I started sailing from why I started sailing. There's just a big overlap there. I started living here in Annapolis. I took some lessons, and literally walking down the street, there was a J24 sitting over at Annapolis Yacht Club, had a for sale sign on the stern. I called the guy from the street and said, "How much you want for your boat?" And he gave me a price, and I wrote a check. And within 24 hours, the boat was at Jabin's. And within 3 hours of owning the boat, I ran it aground. So that's how I wound up in sailing.
All right. I like people who tell the truth in that story.
So now I have so I raced the J24 in the local 24 fleet for a while. Phenomenal fleet. Got my butt handed to me on a regular basis, but just a great bunch of people. Learned a ton on the boat. But you know, get a little bit older, you need something a little more comfortable. Remarried, kids, etc. So now I have a J30 that I race in the local J30 fleet, and then Mike can tell you about the boat the organization has.
Yeah. Well, let me find out about your military backgrounds. I know this is sort of two separate questions, but I had them lumped into one. So your military backgrounds and how Valhalla came to be. So we'll start with you, Mike, because I know Jay wants to lay that line on me about walking into a bar.
All right.
So we're going to start with you.
All right, great. So I am a Marine. I'm not as lean, not as mean, but still a Marine. I was a intel analyst, and I was also a crew member on heavy helicopters in the Marine Corps. Had some tours in Afghanistan during Operation Enduring Freedom, and one of the things was that sailing kind of brought me out of some really dark places once I left the Marine Corps. Without getting into some of the nitty-gritty personal details, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for other sailors and the community of sailors. So, I said if it worked for me, it's got to work for other veterans and other people. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jay after a phone call that I made over to him.
Yeah. So my background, first problem, Molly, is you've asked an Irish kid from the South to be brief, and that just doesn't work. So I'm going to do my very best, right?
We have an hour.
Yeah, right. But hey, I'm from the South. I need an hour to introduce myself. So no, I joined the Army in 1986. My dad, my dad was in the Army. He was in Special Forces. He was a Green Beret. And I found my path into that same, I call it the family business. I wound up doing that same pathway. So I started out as an enlisted guy. I was a medical in the Special Forces team with 7th Special Forces Group at Fort A.P. Hilbert. At Fort Bragg. I started out in a reserve unit. That's a whole other story. But so I wound up at 7th Group at Fort Bragg. And after about 9 years enlisted as a medic, I had the opportunity to go to PA school, courtesy of the Army. So I applied to and was accepted to the Army Physician Assistant Program and got commissioned as a medical officer. And I did a couple of years of purgatory in the 82nd Airborne Division. Great guys, but I'm a special operations dude from the Corps, and so I did my time there, and then I finished out on the other, what we call the other side of the fence, for most of my career. And then, I mean, we can probably dig in this later. I don't want to chew up too much of the time on this one question, but I came to Annapolis. I had been assigned to the Joint Special Operations Command at Fort Bragg, and a very busy community, and taken its toll on a marriage. And I basically came up here trying to salvage a marriage, and that did not work. And I found myself in a town where I didn't know anyone. I threw myself into sailing to keep me from throwing myself into other things that aren't good and aren't healthy. And it like Mike said, I probably wouldn't be here today if it weren't for sailing and the sailing community. And so Mike and I met. I don't even know how I met this knucklehead, but we met somewhere, somehow. And I was going through, I was getting out of a funk, and he called me and said, "Hey, I got an idea." And so, as I like to say, and here's the line, a Green Beret and a Marine walked into a bar, and out came an idea. And that's kind of how it happened. We linked up at a bar, and he said, "Hey," and he told me his story, and I just sat there and got chills. I was like, dude, that's my story. And that's sort of how it went. And there you have it.
How about the name?
What other questions do you have?
How about the name Valhalla? How'd you come up with that?
So Valhalla. One of the things in the military, when our brothers and sisters leave this plane too early, we tie ourselves back to our warrior heritage. And one of the things we say when one of our comrades falls is, "Until Valhalla." So because of the plight of veteran suicide, and because these veterans were trying to be with their brothers and sisters in arms in the afterlife, I wanted to use this as a way to say, we can give you a piece of Valhalla. We can give you your brothers and sisters in arms here on this plane. So that was where Valhalla Sailing Project came, is we are warriors together. We are sitting at the right hand of the ultimate warrior, and we are here to support each other.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I asked. I had never asked that question. I didn't ask that one during the brainstorm. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm not sure who wants to start on this one, but, tell us about your current mission. I'm just going to let Mike start, and we're going to go to Jay for the next question. Tell us about your current mission and who can participate in your program.
So Valhalla's mission is to bring veterans together through the sport of sailing to re-engage themselves with other veterans, be them disabled, fully abled, with hidden injuries, with no injuries, and to support each other. I even though it's Valhalla Sailing Project, I do end up saying that it's not sailing that saves lives, it's the community and it's the people that sail that save lives. It's the atmosphere that a sailboat brings that gets vets together. So our mission is to develop a family, develop camaraderie through the sport of sailing in order to help veterans cope with post-traumatic stress. Now, everything that we do is catered towards veterans, and as we'll talk later in the program, with some coming up initiatives that we have, is towards veterans and towards active duty service members. Now, the caveat to that is, all we ask is that you serve. We don't ask for your disability rating. We don't ask that if you have post-traumatic stress, because there are hidden demons, and that's not what we're about. We're not about your disabilities, your abilities. We're about a family coming together as a unified crew, like we had in the military.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about your programs, but first I'm going to actually flip-flop these questions on you because it seems like a good time maybe to bring Jay's research in here. I know that Jay's doctoral research involves studying resilience and a sense of belonging, and I wonder if you can expand a little bit on that, Jay, and how that corresponds to what you're doing through your Valhalla programs.
Yeah. So, my doctoral research was focused on a completely different community. But as I started, digging into some of the core elements of individual resilience, belonging. My research is on belonging in the workplace, but belonging is belonging, right? I just started to see just a phenomenal overlap with what we were doing. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy, right, belonging sits like right smack dab in the middle. You got physiological safety, you got physiological needs, you've got physical safety, then you got belonging, and from belonging we get esteem, right? So it's a pretty important, very universally accepted need. And the military does a phenomenal job of creating a sense of belonging. Interestingly, and I'll sort of, Mike's in the spotlight right now. When Mike introduced himself, he said, "I am a Marine." And the Marine Corps does a phenomenal job of that. Once a Marine, always a Marine. I will tell people I'm a former Green Beret. It's not over, right? I did it, but it's part of who I am. So the military does a very, very good job about creating that sense of belonging, that sense of unit cohesion. And then we hold that thought and we move to what constitutes or what supports, what contributes to individual resilience. Belonging is a significant component of that, right? People find their connection to a community. They find strength in that. They find support in that. When the world turns upside down, we tend to get very central to the groups that we feel a strong sense of belonging to, family, friends. That gets sort of necked down to that core central element. So that's the geeky, nerdy, wave top version of my doctoral research. So when I look at that and I apply it to what we do, and I will tell you my own, I had an E7, a sergeant first class, who worked with me, who was about to retire, and he had a great job set up afterwards. And I was, I'd just been commissioned. I wasn't even a captain yet. I was an O2. And I said, "Dude, you must be really excited. You're getting out. You got this great job." And he looked at me and said, "Sir, I am terrified." And that sort of shook me. I'm like, "What do you mean you're terrified?" And he said, 20 years, I've woken up every day and I've looked at my uniform. I know what my rank is, which tells me where I fit. I look at my chest. It's got my name tag. It's got who I work for. All the Scare Me badges that the Army's, prone to wear tells me what all my qualifications are. And I'm going to sign a piece of paperwork in a few weeks and all that goes away and it doesn't matter anymore. So when I hit my own retirement, I felt like I was prepared for that, right? I was forewarned. I was like, "Hey, yeah, it's, hey, all that's going to go away." And I'm going to tell you what, I retired from the Asymmetric Warfare Group at Fort Meade. I drove off of Fort Meade and I freaking cried like a baby. I've been retired since 2013 and it still hurts, right? And there's this thing, when you leave, you're not in the club anymore. You're out. And your whole sense of identity, your sense of belonging, your sense of connection is just with a stroke of a pen and a little ceremony and a flag and a box, and you're done. It hits. And so that's kind of what we're doing here, right? Is we're taking these people and there's not a veteran who has left. I don't care if they did their 4 for the Corps or if they did 30. There's not a veteran who's walked away that hasn't experienced some level of that. And so we're giving them an opportunity to come back and reconnect and go, "Hey, we got you, right? We get you and we got you. And here's your new fire team. Here's your new platoon. Here's your new company. Here's your new whatever you want to label it." And I will stop there because my nerd brain is kicking in. I can go into all the layers of belonging and all the things that we do to create belonging. And I can parallel how sailing in general will do that. But let me say this before we move on. This isn't in a broader sense, right? To anyone who's out there in your audience, anyone who's listening, who's like, yeah, okay, veteran, it applies to everybody. You go through a divorce, your sense of belonging is, trust me, I've been through 2 of them, right? You go through a divorce, your sense of belonging is shot. You go through a relationship breakup, you change jobs. I mean, little things, even good change, even good breaks from belonging are difficult. And sailing, and we'll take the veteran piece out for now, right? Sailing offers a pathway to sort of hold on to that. So anyway, I'll stop because I can get way nerdy, but that's kind of where I am.
I like the nerdy though, because when it comes to, I've spent, the past 17 years interviewing sailors, and the one common thread of sailors that I have heard over and over again is when they find other sailors, there's this sense of immediate sense of camaraderie, and they speak the same language. It doesn't matter if one of them has a 50-foot yacht and the other one has a laser. They can run into each other in the airport and they see, hey, you're wearing a Mount Gay belt. That's from Key West. I went to that regatta, and friends are born. And I mean, I met these 2 guys one time. They became friends because they were both in an anchor dragging party in St. Michael's Harbor, and their anchor lines got fouled up together, and like it was a disaster. And they've been friends, for the past 20 years because that happened to them, because that stuff happens to sailors. And so you're talking about these veterans who have this incredible sense of belonging, and then they meet together in something that already has a sense of belonging in it. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's sort of it's kind of like the perfect, wonderful storm,
So
for anyone who's just tuning in, we're talking to the founders of Valhalla Sailing Project in Annapolis. And
so you just hit several of the nerdy, geeky parts of my research, right? There's a common language. That's part of what brings veterans together. I can sit down with another veteran and we can pretty much have a conversation on acronyms, and you'll have no idea what we're saying.
I would have no idea.
Right, but we get each other because we speak that. Mike and I, right? Mike's a Marine, right? I'm not. I'm Army, but there's enough. It's almost like we speak different dialects of the same language, So we can connect that way. So the common language is one way that groups and organizations create belonging. The other way that we solidify that belonging is common experiences, right? To this day, I remember when I had my J24, I don't remember the exact year, but there was a year that our East Coast Championships, we literally chipped ice off the boats to get out to go race. And anybody who was there that year, we've got something to talk about, right? So you have a common experience and you have a common language. That's how we create bonds. That's how we create a sense of belonging. And we are doing that same thing with veterans. We're bringing them in. We're teaching them a new language, right? Right now, we're going to teach you. Most veterans know port from starboard because everybody has to deal with port from starboard in an aircraft or in a boat or whatever. But we're teaching you the difference between a halyard and a sheet, right? We're teaching you leeward from windward, etc. So again, I'm going to get really nerdy. And I don't want to dominate the conversation, but the inner geek is like really fired up right now.
Yeah. All right. So, Mike, why don't you tell us about, let's start at the beginning. Tell us about your first program, because it seems like that is the one that really has a stronghold, your Learn to Sail clinics. And maybe give us some specific examples, because you told me a couple in our brainstorm session of some examples of, you've changed a couple lives with this program. So if you and Sharp, if you want to take our faces off the screen and just have Mike and put some pictures up, this might be a good time to do that. And for anyone in the audience, feel free to pop any questions into the comment section. We will get to them eventually, but I'll let Mike talk about the Learn to Sail clinics. And then I know some other programs are happening.
Awesome. Thank you, Molly. So what our initial and what our kind of cornerstone project is a weekend Learn to Sail clinic. It is an intensive 2 8-hour days where we bring veterans in and we teach them the fundamentals of sailing. We teach them, we assume that they don't know what the pointy end versus the back end of the boat, what a skipper is versus a main trimmer. And when you talk about sheets, you think about what you put on the bed. So we teach the absolute fundamentals. And we go through how to safely use a boat, how to safely sail, and how to safely interact as a crew. And some of the things that you see on the pictures that are scrolling through right now, and one of the things I'm most proud about is that we have veterans teaching veterans. We have people that have been through the program that are teaching other veterans their newly found skills. So going through these weekends, everything through the man overboard drills, through tacking, jibing, we get them moving through all of those basics. And as you see in this one picture here, as they go through the clinics, we get them more advanced things. We bring them on J30s. We bring them on J35s. When we had our FAR 42, we brought them out in the FAR 42. And we teach spinnaker handling. We teach mark roundings. We teach starts. We start getting into the fundamentals of racing. So that's kind of like the cornerstone we have. The exciting thing is through feedback the program is while
He's breaking up.
Weekend their families these tight between friends. We also want to be able to enable veterans to communicate, contact, and develop their relationships with families, be it spouse, children. So I'm proud to announce 2021 we actually.
Mike, you're breaking up a little bit. I'm having trouble understanding you right now. Do you think you can refresh your screen?
All right,
and we can bring you back. Oh, now it's just me. And Jay, hi Jay.
Hey, how are you?
I think we kind of lost Mike there a little bit.
Yeah, he broke up pretty hard. I'll sort of pick up where there he is. Mike, back. Give us a test shot, Mike.
All right, testing 1, 2. I've got.
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, I've got 4 green bars.
Right, maybe we'll just let you talk and not put any pictures up right now. Maybe there was too much of a clog up happening there.
Yeah.
No worries. So I don't know if you heard about. Like, I was getting ready to talk about our announcement that we've got coming up. So for 2021, we are proud to announce that we are actually going to start integrating families into the program. Every month, we are going to have a family sail day. It's going to be an opportunity for the veterans to bring their spouse, bring their children on board our J35, Eastport Yacht Club's J22s, and some of the Eastport Yacht Club cruising committees boats, and then allow the veterans and enable the veterans to teach their families and allow their families to experience what the veterans have gone through with the program. So as of 2021, we are now not only a veteran program, but we are a veterans family and military family program. And we also know that not every veteran wants to race. Racing can be pretty intensive, and not everybody wants to do it. But so we are also integrating a cruising program, and we're going to start doing some long distance cruises, some tours of the lighthouses. So those are 2 of the pretty big initiatives that Valhalla Sailing Project is kicking off for 2021.
I heard you. I disappeared, and then you froze up again on me.
Still there?
I am.
Perfect. All right. So that's my 2 cents on what 2021 is bringing for new initiatives.
Well, that's really exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a couple of, do you have any specific success stories you could tell us about?
Yes, my Marine Corps head and too many hits to the head caused me to forget that part of the initial question. So in our 5 years of existence, we've had a couple of profound success stories. I'm not going to mention names or any kind of identifiers, but we've had some veterans come up to us after the first day of a clinic, and they have come up to me, pulled me aside, and said, "Hey, Mike, yesterday was a really bad day to me, really bad day for me. I didn't know if I was going to be here today. I thought I was going to go out on a high, try being out in the water, and then we're done." And then on Sunday, they came in with this absolute vigor and absolute passion. You saw a complete change in their face and their mannerism, their eyes. They had this drive, this passion for life. And this has actually happened a couple of times for us, at least on 3 different counts, and all similar stories. All stories of life is upside down for me right now, and I just want to be with my brothers and sisters. And we were able to provide that option for them. And we could have 500, we could have 10,000, 50,000 veterans come through Valhalla Sailing Project. But if we know that we've affected one veteran's life, that we've saved one veteran's life, that's mission success for me.
Yeah.
That's what makes me leave one of these clinics and one of these sailing outings feeling like a proud papa with an ear-to-ear smile.
Yeah. So what are the numbers for your program? And maybe you can bring Jay up too, of just some general questions here, if Jay's still around. I know we're having some, there he is. How many people have gone through your program? You say you're in your 6th year. A lot of people have gone through at this point. Jay, do you speak to the numbers? Do you know how many people have gone through, or?
Oh, I could speak to the numbers and it would be completely inaccurate. So I'm going to let Mike answer that because he's the guy that tracks all that stuff. I'll make something up for you, but Mike can give you the real numbers.
Okay, Mike.
So all total, we've had approximately 300 unique veterans come through the program, with about a total of 200 repeat veterans that have come through the program. So over 6 years, we have served about 500 veterans and some family members. It has been absolutely phenomenal. It has been just mind-blowing to see these veterans descend down to Annapolis. And so some of the things, if we look at what 2020, and we're still living in it with 2021, has brought us with the COVID restrictions and closing everything down, where we talk about this sense of belonging and needing to be around other people. 2020 was a pretty sucky year for people. And that doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not. And while we were able to comply with Maryland state regulations for COVID restrictions, we were able to bring veterans to Eastport Yacht Club in a safe manner and get them interacting with other veterans. So that has been something that is really setting up the success for 2021 and well into the future.
Yeah. Molly,
I'm sorry, Jay, go ahead.
I want to pick on something that Mike alluded to, because I think to me, it's a pertinent point. Maybe I'm wrong, but it matters to me. So there you go. When we talk about the repeat veterans, right, and we talk about the way our program is managed and structured, we do not do a lot of like death by PowerPoint. It's like, here you go. Here's a big circle. Here's a wind. It comes from different directions. Here's what you have to do to make the boat move. And that's it. And it's get on the boat, right? It is all about learn by doing. We set you up with the principles and the fundamentals in the classroom, and then get your butt on the boat. But what really is where and then this is, as Mike says, about the sailing, right? The sailing is just the conduit. The sailing is just the thing that really just gets me every time. Saturday, you'll get somebody out there that's just like, which way does the tiller go? I don't get it. It's just not coming together for me. But for some people, the light bulb goes on pretty quickly, right? The switch is flipped within a half a day. Come back on Sunday, and those for whom the switch flipped, they're teaching the ones that are still struggling. And me, I just get out of the way. I just make sure that they're not going to hit anybody. And I let all of that happen. And that's really, I just sit back and I'm a teacher by nature, right? So when I see that happening, from a instructional standpoint, I know we're doing a good thing. From a camaraderie standpoint, I know we're doing a good thing. And then that all bleeds over into self-esteem, a sense of self-actualization, which is way up on Maslow's chart, right?
Yeah.
It's just good. It's just good. I swear, you cannot come out and be a volunteer with this program and watch that. If you can come out as a volunteer for this program and watch that go down and not leave feeling like your day was worth it, I don't know.
Hold that thought on volunteerism, because SpinSheet readers like to volunteer. Let's take this question from Don Burnett. Can other veterans who sail join at least the cruising outings? Thanks for joining us again, Don. Thanks for your question.
Is that a rhetorical question? Absolutely. We love to bring other veterans onto the game. Absolutely. And I don't care whether it's, Mike, I don't mean to step on your thunder here, dude, but race, sail, cruise, when it comes to scrub boat bottoms, anything, right? Just come on out. We'd love to have other veterans come out.
Yeah, good.
Even if you're already an experienced sailor, that's really one of the pools that we come to. I have a good friend of mine. We served in the same unit together, but at different times. We actually connected through Facebook, through our common interest of sailing. He comes out, he works with the program. It's just, yeah, absolutely.
So how can we help you? What kind of volunteers do you need? How do volunteers find you? What do you have? What sort of a time frame would they be on? Anything you have to say about volunteers and how they can learn about your program?
All right, so with volunteering with the program, the best way to get in touch with us is through our Facebook page. It's if you look up Valhalla Sailing Project, we're the top link that comes up, and send us a direct message. Somebody will get back to you within at least 12 hours. I work in one of those positions where I can't have Facebook at work, but as soon as I can, I'll get back to you. So we're looking for volunteers in every aspect of the program. We're looking for volunteer instructors, whether or not you're an ASA instructor or a U.S. sailing instructor. We're looking for people to help out with logistics and going and picking up donated food. We're looking for people to help out with the maintenance of our J35. Any aspect of the program, we're looking for people to help out. We can always augment. And as we're growing, we just need more and more people. And yeah, the best way is to reach out through our Facebook page, and we'll make sure to get you on board. To tag on to Don's question regarding veterans that already know how to sail, helping out with the cruising aspect. We're always looking for boat owners that may want to bring veterans onto their boat and take a family out for a day. Try to arrange a giant flotilla and go anchor out, go swimming, go drop in the sea nettle nets. Make sure you're not getting stung, but go out and have fun and just. And then also, it's like we've been talking about. It's about relating with each other and being together. So if you want to if you're out on the water and you want to take vets out fishing, let us know. We will make that happen. We will get you in touch with veterans. So yeah, that is the best way to volunteer, is just reach out through our Facebook, or you can email me directly at mike@valhallasailing.org, and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
So the summer solstice. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the summer solstice. It's the international celebration of sailing. It takes place close to the Saturday. I think it's Saturday and Sunday closest to the solstice. I believe this year it's June 19th and 20th. Someone's looking at a calendar. You can confirm that for me. But I just volunteered to be an ambassador for the program. So as an ambassador for the summer solstice, I would love to know that there is going to be a day of veterans on the water over the summer solstice. And let's sign up for it, and let's win some prizes, and let's get some pictures from the boat and some selfies. And let's make sure to have a good, whether it's a race that day. I do believe it could be the day of the Leukemia Cup. I don't remember exactly, but some of them are out racing, some are out cruising. Let's maybe try to get as many veterans on the water as we can. So then you have a date, especially for those. It's June 19th, and I do believe that's Leukemia Cup Day. But let's. I know your goal is always to get a bunch of veterans on the water, but let's shoot to have an extra special summer solstice day with veterans on the water.
Right.
That's what I think.
Right on. I am 100% on board. This is about getting veterans together with veterans, and what better way to do it during the summer solstice? Longest day of the year. Let's have some fun with it. And like we are working behind the scenes some initiatives for that summer solstice weekend. That we'll be releasing shortly. But no, that is going to be an exciting day. And if you don't mind, Molly, I actually have another quick announcement.
Bring it.
The NOR has already been published talking about getting as many veterans out on the water for Eastport Yacht Club's Friday night beer can race. Valhalla has started the inaugural Valhalla Perpetual Trophy to the skipper that has at least 20% of their crew is veterans for the entire series. Low Point wins, and they actually win a pretty awesome trophy. And that is to encourage skippers to bring veterans out on their boat as often as possible. So we are proud to announce that we actually are partnering up with EYC to have a perpetual trophy for skippers to bring vets out on the water.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Can you, I feel like if you broke up, you were breaking up for me when you were talking about the family program. Maybe you can just reiterate that again. The people kind of come in and out of our program. It's okay if we're a little repetitive sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No worries. So with the family program, as veterans come in for a clinic weekend, they do get to be with other veterans. They get to be with their brothers and sisters in arms. But that also means that some of these veterans have to leave their spouse or children at home during that time. And one of the biggest feedbacks we got was, as much as we loved coming out sailing with the program, I'd really like to be out with my wife, my husband, my kids. So with that being said, we are starting a family program where veterans are going to be able to partner up either with our organizational boats or with other volunteer boats and bring their families, bring their spouse, bring their children, bring their parents onto a sailboat and come enjoy the Chesapeake Bay, come enjoy the water. So that is the importance. So as important as brother and sister in arms relationships are, it's just as important to have that strong family bond at home with the spouse and children. So if the veterans are able to share their experience, their newly found passion and love of sailing and being out in the water with their family, that can add a completely new dynamic to their family relationship.
Yeah, if I can jump in on the back end of that too, and this ties into the nerdy brain, but it also ties into personal experience. And this is, regardless of whether it's the husband that's downrange or the wife that's downrange, the thing that lets us go do what we do in the places that we have to go do them is that we know that the home front is stable. We know the home front is good. I left the best job of my career because the marriage was falling apart. And I walked into work, and it was one of those types of jobs that I could say to my boss, take me off the pager. I can't do this work because if you send me out, I'm going to be thinking about this. And if I'm thinking about this, the people I'm supposed to be supporting and taking care of aren't going to be getting 100% me. And that's not fair to them. My mother, and I'm a mama's boy from the South, so hold on. My mother, my rock, she supported my dad through a 20 some odd year career, 2 tours to Vietnam. And let's put that in perspective. No Facebook, right? No email. It was like, I think we got 2 phone calls in a year, and she might have gotten a letter a month, right? That family is really, that is the unsung hero of what helps a veteran go do the things that a veteran does. So if we can support the family, we are by default supporting the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at resilience and we look at belonging, I mean, that's really where it comes from, right? That strength of that family, that strength of that bond, that's the core bond.
Looks like you're getting a pretty good suggestion from the audience there. Thanks for tuning in, Dave. A veterans flotilla with family sounds like something that needs to happen. All right. It's like Dave's in charge of the volunteer team for that one, which is awesome. Thank you. Any final words you would like to say about your program? I know that, Mike, you wanted to thank some of the organizations that helped you make it possible. And I actually had one more question for you, but I'll let you. You said you want to thank the club and maybe some others.
Absolutely. So starting Valhalla and getting veterans out on the water, as we know, sailing is not an inexpensive sport. So there have been a lot of people that have helped us out throughout the years, from our founding to our current state. I'd like to start off by and if I forget anybody, I'm truly sorry. And I know this isn't the Oscars, so go ahead, play the music. Annapolis Sailing School was actually our very first home. We were able to use the rainbows out on Back Creek. So without Annapolis Sailing School, the start of Valhalla Sailing Project wouldn't have happened. We had a great support staff from Severance Sailing Association, and then now to our current home and host club, Eastport Yacht Club. We have the 100% backing of the entire executive board at Eastport Yacht Club, and they have been immensely supportive of everything that we've done. We've had support from Allsop Marina, from Jabin's Yacht Yard, from Port Annapolis. It's amazing how the community has come together to support veterans' causes. And then I've said it a couple of times. We do currently run a J35, and I'd be remiss if I wouldn't give credit to the entire J35 community. And not just the Annapolis community, the entire national J35 community, for coming together and helping us find parts that we need for the boat, get us crew that we need to get, give us mentors. The J35 fleet here in Annapolis, we jumped headfirst into that family, and we've been welcomed with open arms by boats that you'll know, with Aunt Jean, Abiento, Maggie, T-Bone. These are all boats that have completely welcomed us with open arms. So I'm just humbled by the support that we're getting from the maritime industries. And in all honesty, to SpinSheet, to you, Molly, and to the entire crew at SpinSheet, you guys have really supported us and told our story from year one to present. If it wasn't for the warm hearts and spirit that the Annapolis and the sailing community has for veterans and for the sailing community, we may be a few veterans shorter today. So I want everybody that's listening in today to know that every single one of you, whether you know it or not, and whether or not you have directly reached out to Valhalla Sailing or not, you actually have had a profound impact on veterans, and you should be proud that you have helped save veterans' lives.
Well, thank you for that. And you are welcome from the SpinSheet perspective. But, the way I look at it, if someone has an interesting story, I want to tell it. And you guys have had an interesting, compelling story from day one. So you are an Annapolis program, fairly Annapolis centric with all these Annapolis organizations. Yet you did tell me that you've had veterans come from a wider range than just Annapolis. Can you talk a little bit about those who have come from other places in case someone might be close enough to get here for one of your programs?
Sure, absolutely. So I'll start off by saying the only qualifier to participate in Valhalla Sailing Project is that you are a veteran or you are a veteran's family. With that being said, I don't care where you're from. I don't care. We've had veterans come in from Philadelphia, from North Carolina. We've had veterans come in from Texas, from Florida. We've had vets actually come in from Colorado and California. I can't guarantee that we have the funding or the support to provide housing. You don't have to be from the National Capital Region. And also, if you show an interest and you want to participate in the program, we will try to find a way to get you here and get you out sailing. And if we're not able to do it here in Annapolis, trust me, we have a very wide network of friends and family throughout the entire country. We will find you a boat. We will find you a veteran family wherever you are in the world.
All right, Jay, is there anything you would like to add on that? I have one final question, but I'm going to let you add any final words you have about the program or anything you're excited about.
Yeah, it was interesting to me that, when Mike was going down through this litany of thanking people of how we got up and running and in the early days, just all of that. Again, the nerd brain kicked in and I was like, geez, Mike, you're kind of ticking off all the little blocks of a sense of belonging and a sense of community. How about that, right? And I think that's really, again, it's the nerdy brain, but I think that's the thing about this is the sailing community, veteran or otherwise, the sailing community, we're such a unique and just like far-reaching community of people that it's just I think humbling, right, is the word. I know I went when I came here, I was coming through a divorce. I started dating someone and it was fun, it was great, but it just didn't work. And we tried really, really hard to make it work and it just didn't work. And then it ended. And the first thing I did was I was like, I've got to the time I had my J24, it was hard broke. And I was like, I got to go sail. And I just threw out a quick email and it was like, yeah, I got space on the boat. Get out here. I don't know. It's just a phenomenal community of people. It just really is. It's humbling. It's humbling to be part of this funny little quirky, weird, unique thing that we call the sailing world.
Mm-hmm. So for anyone who's watching, who's been touched by your story, but they're thinking, I don't have any time to volunteer, but I'd kind of like to write these guys a check to help them support their programs. How can they make that happen?
So there's a couple different ways. Like I said, if you reach out through our Facebook page, we can go ahead and get you an address for us. I would like to say that we are a IRS recognized 501c3. So any money that's donated to us, any in-kind donation. So if you've got bottom paint, if you're a boat detailing company and you want to help us out, we can do in-kind donations as well. But also there through our actual website, valhallasailing.org, there at the top of the page, there is a donate now button, and that will go through a secure PayPal link where PayPal actually doesn't take a cut of the donation, and it comes through us, and you automatically get a receipt for your donation.
And I just think it's important to let people know money helps. You guys have a lot of energy, but it helps keep your boats running. It helps you with your promotional materials. And I know you probably get a lot of in-kind donations for food, but when you have one of these learn to sail clinics, there are some expenses associated with it. So anyone who is inclined to donate, well, by all means, please do so.
But Molly, I do have to interrupt. You brought up food. So in my thank yous, there are two organizations, actually 3 organizations I forgot to thank. Warrior Events, who is another Annapolis veterans organization. They've been completely supportive of us. And then two restaurants that have been amazingly supportive of us. The one and only Mission Barbecue, and the amazing Eastport-owned, veteran-owned Bread and Butter Kitchen. They have been absolutely phenomenal in helping support us.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't surprise me at all. So we've reached last call. I wonder if Sharb is going to come back, or if he's just going to. I don't know. He might come back. Well,
I just wanted to put up the link into it's a live link. In the comments section, if people just feel like stroking a check or whatever they want to do to go visit
or volunteering,
they can go to the valhallasailing.org there in the comments. So anyway, I just thought it's a neat little thing that I can do. So
we're so glad you did. So cheers, guys. You guys have been amazing guests. I loved having you on the program, learning more about your project and your sailing lives. And I really look forward to seeing your faces in real life sooner rather than later. I would be remiss in not letting the whole audience know that somebody in here is getting married.
Oh, geez, really?
Really soon. And so I just want to say congratulations in advance.
I have tried so hard to counsel him otherwise, but she's an awesome lady. So I guess it's okay. Hey,
I got 15 days left, and it's been awesome.
That's very cool.
I don't know if I don't know what kind of time we got left, but I'm looking here. So a quick story. Patrick Brennan and Chris O'Connor are in the chat room. And then I had a buddy of mine. We had an opportunity to sail on a 12-meter here in Annapolis, right? So this is one of my favorite stories about why veterans are the weird little quirky bunch we are. So we're out on this 12-meter yacht that a gentleman owns in town. It was a wonderful day sailing on a classic design, phenomenal boat. And I had this Army buddy of mine on board who had never sailed before, and I had a chance to get him at the helm. And I was trying to get his attention, and he wouldn't pay attention to me. So, and if my mother's watching, Mom, I'm sorry, but I just shouted out rather loudly, "Hey, head," right? 3 people turned. One was a guy I wanted to reach, and the other 2 were the 2 Marines, right? It's just like, it was just this universal term. Oh, you're talking to me, right? So, Chris, Patrick, go eat your crayons, dudes. Love you dearly.
I think that's the perfect story to end on. Thank you, guys. Don't hang up, because we're going to have a little party in the green room. So I'm going to go in the green room with you guys. We're going to let Sharb say goodnight, and thanks to our sponsors. But for anyone who's watching tonight, thank you, as always, for watching the SpinSheet Happy Hour. Tune in next week, where I'll be taking a break. And Beth Crabtree is going to be interviewing some new sailors about some mistakes they made along the way and how they learned from their mistakes. So I'm going to be, I don't know, on a dance floor somewhere, or I'll probably be on my couch watching the SpinSheet Happy Hour.
I was going to say, you're going to be watching the SpinSheet Happy Hour. Yeah,
you'll know by the comments where I am, but I'll try to act at least a little mysterious about my whereabouts. Maybe I'll hang out with Sharb's wife and watch the SpinSheet Happy Hour. But
you do that.
You guys have been great. Yes, I wish you all the very best with Valhalla, and I look forward to seeing both of you guys on the water.
Yes,
Good night,
absolutely. Thank you too. This was great. Someone in the comments section from the beginning actually said, how this whole thing kind of came about and what your mission is profound, and I think that nails it. So thank you very much. And by the way, I didn't know Monica from Bread and Butter was a veteran, so I'll have to go by and say thank you very much to her.
She is a proud Air Force veteran.
Did not know that. Awesome, and she's such a great person.
Got a lot going on.
She's got a lot going on.
That woman is an entity unto herself. I do not know how she does it. She's amazing.
She is awesome, and they make a pretty darn good lunch. I'll tell you that.
Everything.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks again, guys. Let me throw you in the green room. Stick around because that is always the party in the green room. Let's see here. Got to do all this stuff. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Want to thank Mount Gay for sponsoring us. Without them, we can't do this. And next time you're, taking a stroll through your favorite wine and spirits place, and you think, hey, I don't know what to get while I'm here, pick up a bottle of Mount Gay. You'll be doing yourself and us a favor. Until next time, tune in to SpinSheet Happy Hour next Friday, and have a safe